Today, I will present synergy grants and in general and the novelties in 2026 calls. So the overview will be I will be talking about the ERC and the funding schemes very shortly, and I will give you some data on funded proposal for the Synergy 2024 call. I will talk about the changes in the work program since 2024 and the changes that have been released very recently in the ERC website regarding the 2026 work program. And I will focus, of course, mainly in the changes that will involve Synergy Grant 2026 call. Then I will explain a bit, and this is quite general, and it applies to all to every year in Synergy, which are the grant features and the proposal structure. Then I will explain, touch upon the evaluation criteria, process, and timeline, and I will conclude this presentation with some hints and tips. So without any further ado, let's start about talking the grant schemes. Nothing changed regarding the main schemes. We have three, and they are divided by career stage. The names are quite self-explanatory: starting, consolidator, and advanced grant. And their grant is progressively increasing according to the career stage: 1.5 million for starting, 2 million for consolidator, 2.5 million for advanced grant. The time commitment it's decreasing going along with the career stage, so 50% time commitment for starting grants, 40% for consolidator, and 30% for advanced grantee. The grants are for 5 years, and then here you can see that in 2025, starting a consolidator, the applicants can request up to 1 more million for additional funding, and in advanced grant 2025, they can even request up to 2 million euro if they need to start up costs to start up their laboratory when coming in the EU or associated countries. And then in the middle, you will see Synergy Grant, which is the main topic of this webinar. It's I will speak about it later on. And then underneath, you can see the proof of concept. It's a grant dedicated to ERC grant holders that in the output of their research, they are trying to bridging the gap between research and early stage of unmarketable or social innovation. It's a smaller granting size. It's 150,000 euro. So now let's see some numbers regarding the proposals funded in 2024. This is the number of proposals funded per country. And in Belgium, you can see you had 2 proposals out of the 57 awarded. And if we move down, you will see that this is the success rate of PIs. As you know, probably Synergy Grants is dedicated to grant for 2 to 4 PIs, and you can see that the number of PIs and the number of proposals is matching. So the Belgium got funded with 2 PIs. Let's move on, and here I will show you the 2025 call calendar. It will not vary much with regard to 2026 call. We are expecting to open it more or less in the same date, the 10th of July, at the beginning of July, and we try to have the deadline in the early November 2025. In 2025, the budget for Synergy was 500 million in 2026. So you stay tuned and you will get to know when the work program will come out. So now I will touch upon the novelties that are applicable since 2024. They are not anymore novelties, but it's very good for me to give you a refresher for that. The first change is the change in the CV and the track records that have been combined and simplified. So at the beginning it was 6 pages, and now it's 4 pages in total. And for Synergy, it's 4 pages in total per PI. And of course, yeah, in this CV, you have to list up to 10 research output and demonstrate how you have advanced the knowledge in the field, and then you will have a chance to add a short narrative description to explain the information that you provided, and then you can also explain the career breaks or conventional career paths, and also describe some exceptional contribution to the research community aside of the science that you provided. Then in the evaluation procedure, the proposal continued to be evaluated by peer review panels, but there will be a new scoring introduced. There have been a new score introduced in step 1, which is the A not invited. This is for candidate whose proposal is scored A as step 1 of the evaluation. They will not be subjected to resubmission restriction, and they will be free to submit their proposal in the following year's code. The A not invited is a mark of excellence because it's of excellent quality, but not ranked sufficiently high from the cutoff to pass the second step of the evaluation. And then this is the last point of this slide, does not apply to Synergy, which is the cap of proposal passed to the second step of the evaluation. So this is regarding the main calls, in which you have the cap of 44 proposals that can be passed to the second step of the evaluation. For Synergy, we will still use the budget multiplier, and specifically for step one is 7 times the panel budget. And then there is an explicit evaluation primarily of the research project. So the panel members and reviewers are instructed to weighing the project proposal more than the past achievement to the PIs. So and the evaluation questions have been revised, and I already anticipate have been further revised for the 2026 call. So the focus will be still on the groundbreaking nature and ambition of the proposed research. I put here the links with the press release, but let me move on to explain a bit the novelties applicable in Synergy 2026 call. At the bottom, you have also the link to the ERC website, where all these changes are explained in detail. But the changes are regarding the grant application, meaning the submission forms, so the structure of the proposal itself, and then the evaluation. As I explained before, there have been some sort of revision of the questions for that they need to reply, the panel members need to reply when they're writing their reviews. There have been an update in the resubmission restriction, and there are also updates in the additional funding section. And there is also the latest news, it's about a new funding instrument. I will not touch upon the changes in other calls. I will rather focus more on the Synergy grant call changes. So, and I will speak, of course, a bit more in detail about the grant application, the evaluation, resubmission restriction further down during my speech. So the design of the Synergy call in 2025 doesn't change much with respect to 2026, but nothing has been shared yet. So I will stick to what has been done in 2025. As I said, Synergy call is for 2, 3, or 4 principal investigators. They can apply for quite a substantial grant, up to 10 million plus 4 million for 6 years. And here we have the first change, meaning for the additional funding is now possible to request personnel cost in 2026. This is the main difference with respect to 2025. There is no restriction on the location at the time of application, meaning that if you are applying, you can apply from all over the world. But then most of the PIs need to carry out the project within EU or associated country. There is no limit also in the regional spread. The PIs can be in the same corridor or in different institutions or countries. And then you can have host institution, they need to be from EU or associated country with the possibility of having one host institution outside. The working time in the EU or associated country for this PI has to be equal or more 50%, and the working commitment to the ERC project has to be minimum 30%. For 2025, the goal budget is 500 million, meaning around 49 grants will be funded. So the Synergy call opened the 11th of July 2024 and closed the 6th of November 2024. These in 2026 will not vary much. I cannot give you the precise dates, but please expect the opening of the call around these dates. Another important piece of information is that the main difference within the individual calls and the Synergy grant call in terms of the evaluation is that in Synergy grant we have a 3 steps evaluation, while for main calls it's only a 2 steps evaluation. The third step, it's an interview step with all the PIs coming to Brussels to undertake the interview. So the Synergy grant feature, you can see here at the center, there is an ambitious research problem that require a joint effort to promote these advances at the frontiers of knowledge that would not be possible to be carried out by an individual PI working alone, and it requires synergy, complementarity of expertise, knowledge, infrastructure, a combination of the scientific approach of different PIs that would give more than the mere sum of each of the PIs together. So this is actually the synergy, and there is a definition of synergy also in the work program. PIs of any career stage can apply, and here I'm telling, usually the PIs applying to this quite competitive call are more on the unestablished career stage, but nevertheless, there are also successful applicants that belong to an earlier career stage. So I strongly encourage all the PIs to any career stage to apply if they have an excellent idea to be carried out with an excellent group of PIs. Another feature, this is very important, there is equality among PI with a designated corresponding PI. Corresponding PI is not a coordinating PI, is the one that carries the burden of the administrative stuff that they need to undertake. But regarding the science, all the PIs have the same weight. They are all sitting at the driver's seat. And there is also a strong commitment of the PI. So once they are selected for funding, as PIs, they need to stay for the whole duration of the grant. So now that we talk a bit about what is synergy, let's maybe emphasize what synergy is not. It's not a loose cooperation or networking between principal investigators. It's not a PI that gets the samples and gave it to the modeler. It's not a simple passing of data or information from one team to the other. It requires really a tight-knit group of PIs and their teams working together to achieve the goals of the project. Another myth buster is that the proposed work does not need to cover more than one discipline. Sometimes synergy is strongly connected with interdisciplinarity. Interdisciplinarity is, of course, very much welcome in a synergy grant, but if a proposal is touching upon only one field or one discipline, this is completely fine. So let's now move on to the administrative, the proposal structure. On the left side end, we have the administrative part. It doesn't change from previous year, but here on the right hand side, I will talk a bit more about the changes that will be in 2026. So first of all, there will be part 1 and part 2. So at the beginning, and the previous years was called part B1 and part B2. The part 1 is not anymore an extended synopsis, but it gives it needs to describe an overall idea, describing the state of knowledge and how the research idea will contribute to the field. You need to explain what are the scientific questions, list the objectives, and you need to give an overall convincing approach or research strategy. I'm saying so because usually in step 1, what has been assessed by the panel members is the feasibility of the project. As of 2026, the feasibility is not anymore assessed at step 1, but the feasibility will be assessed in the step 2 and step 3 of the evaluation. And here you will see a further change of the second part of the proposal. It's called part 2. First of all, it's reduced in terms of pages. It's not anymore 15. Now it's 10 pages. And in part 2, you don't need to again explain what are the scientific objectives and so on what I've explained in part 1. But in the second part, you have to give the details on the implementation, the methodology, the work plan, risk assessment, and their possible mitigation. And of course, there is the part of resources that doesn't count towards the limit, the page limit. So the description of the resources can be after the 10 pages. So in that resources part, you need only to write the justification of the resources. And for what concerns the figures, I mean the budget breakdown, there is a new separate budget table annex with the budget breakdown per PI. This will be made available in the submission platforms in the fundamental portal. And I strongly suggest to use it because it also contains formula to calculate overheads, and it's a bit more handy than having a Word file with a grid and you need to copy paste the values. And now the submission restriction for the 2026 call. In the press release that have been published 2 days ago, there are also some news regarding the resubmission restriction that will be applicable for 2026. So these resubmission restrictions are, of course, retroactive. And as of 2026, as you can see, if you get a C or a B in step 1 of Synergy 2025, the PIs will not be eligible to apply to a Synergy call 2026. While of course, for the other scores, they can apply. Of course, in step 2, a B in step 2 the PIs are still eligible, and so on and so forth. While for the applicants that applied to previous starting consolidator advanced grant calls can apply to the Synergy 2026, even if they got a seat. This is a brand new call with a set of PIs, and this is not subjected to resubmission restriction to Synergy 2026. In order to be also eligible for Synergy 2026, and you have a running ERC grant, has to end before 2 years after the call deadline, which will be in November 2025. So if you have a grant, make sure that it will finish in November 2027. A PI can be part of one application published under the same work program, meaning if you applied to Starting Grant 2026 and you wish to apply to Synergy 2026, this will not be possible. The first application, because it's the same work program here, this is not possible. So the first application will be considered, and all the subsequent ones will be declared ineligible. And now the evaluation criteria, or maybe better criterion, is excellence. So excellence can be divided in 2 parts. So excellence of the research project, and the description of its groundbreaking nature, the potential impact. It has to have a clever scientific approach and needs to outline a convincing synergetic aspect among the PIs. Again, in step 1, there are no details on feasibility requested as of 2026. You need to, anyway, give a convincing overall research strategy, while the feasibility and the methodology, of course, will be assessed in step 2 and step 3, because those are contained in the part 2 of the proposal. And as I explained before, I didn't. I will go forward with the details in the next slides. The excellence of the second part of the excellence is the excellence of the principal investigator. So they are the PIs are assessed according to their career benchmarks. So if there is an early career stage PI, the panel members are instructed to try to compare, to evaluate this PI according to this career, to their career stage. And more so, the intellectual capacity, creativity, independent thinking will be assessed, while the time commitment, which is present in part 2, will be evaluated in step 2 and 3 only. So let's now go in the detail for the regarding the evaluation process overview of Synergy. This is Synergy 2025, will not change much with respect to 2026. So please bear with me. You see the arrow represents the timeline, and everything starts with the initial panel chairs meeting, with only the chairs participating, and their job is to assign the proposal to panel members, and this in the case of Synergy, panel evaluators. Who are the panel evaluators? Those are panel members that are serving in other ERC call that help the panel members of the Synergy calls by providing a review. So in step 1, remote phase, after the assignment is finished and the evaluation is launched, they need to provide the reviews, the panel members and panel evaluators, and they will act as generalists. And each panel member, each proposal is reviewed more or less by 5 panel members or panel evaluators. After the remote phase, the step 1 meeting takes place with 14 experts. In 2025, the panel size of step 1 has been increased. At the beginning, it was 5 chairs and 7 vice chairs. In 2025, it has been 5 chairs and 9 vice chairs. With the changes in the work program, we expect to stick to this panel size for step 1, in which they will decide which are the proposals worthwhile to pass to be retained to the second step of the evaluation. And it's not like, as I said, in the individual calls that they have a cap of 44 proposals. Here they can pass maximum 7 times the call budget. After that, they start another remote phase in which both parts of the proposals are evaluated. In case of 2026, it will be part 1 and part 2 by still the panel members, which are around 90, which will still act as generalists, plus the external reviewers, which are nominated by the panel, and they will act as specialists. So in the remote phase, the proposal is reviewed usually by around 8 to 12 experts. So it's quite a substantial feedback that the PIs receive. And also the panel members to have an very well-informed evaluation. In step 2, then after the remote phase, there is a panel meeting with all the panel members. In this case, they meet all together. They are divided in sub-panels. I will explain this later. And after the panel meeting takes place, they can pass up to 3 times the panel budget to the step 3 of the call, in which there are no more reviews to be prepared, but the panel members use the reviews and the discussion to draft the questions to the PIs that will come for the interview at step 3. So basically, this is the evaluation process. But now we will see it on the let's say on the side. This was on the side of the reviews, more or less. This slide represents more the evaluation process according to panel members. So in step 1, as I said, there is one big panel. And there are 14 panel members, mainly panel chairs and vice chairs. And when they pass 7 times the call budget in step 2, the whole panel members, the whole set of panel members will be divided in 5 to 7 panels, depending on the number and type of proposals, and of course, and the expertise of the panel members. So the division is done in a way that usually is not the proposal that follow the experts, but actually the opposite is the expert that follows the proposal. During the step 2 panel meeting, they decide, of course, what are the panel the proposal passing to the third step, and it has to be max 3 times the call budget. And then again in step 3, there are still 5 to 7 panels, 5 to 7 panels. But with the difference that let's say the structure of the panels may change if need be, and this is decided, of course, by the panel chairs if they need to balance or the number of proposals, or they in terms of expertise, etc. They have the opportunity to rearrange a bit the panel. And again, the number and the composition of the panel may vary. They are usually quite interdisciplinary, and they are defined only when we know which proposal are passing to the following step of the evaluation. And here you can see who is evaluating the synergy proposal. So, and here there are some data regarding the Synergy 2024 evaluators profile. In step 1, which is in the remote evaluation, all the experts are meant to be in one single panel, and with panel members and panel evaluators, there was a total of 257 reviewers reviewing all the proposals submitted to the Synergy grant call. And then you can see underneath in this case the proportion of the domains of the panel members are belonging to. And on the left side end you have the panel members division, and on the right hand you have the panel evaluators division, which are more or less overlapping. While on step 2, as I said, there are panel members acting as generalists, and then the remote referees, which are the specialists of the proposal. And here you can see there have been a total of 1,670 more or less reviews submitted, and at the end of the Synergy 2024 evaluation, each proposal has been reviewed between 8 and 18 experts, which is quite substantial. So the panel members usually review 4 to 7 per proposal, and the remote referees are between 3 to 11. So at the end of step 2, there have been around 3,000 reviews submitted for the 278 proposals that passed the second step of the evaluation. There are some hints and tips in preparing the applications. There are differences, of course, as I said, in part 1 and part 2. These are still, some of them are quite valid because pay particular attention to the groundbreaking nature of the research project. Basically, try to think about something novel that goes beyond the state of the art. And it is also very important to explain the synergetic aspect, and the know-how of the group is assessed together with the combination of the scientific elements that are brought by each and every PI. And then, of course, be aware of the state of play of your field and why your idea and scientific approach is outstanding with respect to your competitors. Another point, only part 1 is read as step 1. Be concise, be clear, and outline the overall research approach. And here feasibility is not assessed at step 1, as I said, it is assessed only at step 2. So what I suggest is to give a scientific approach that gives a hint to the panel members and convince them while they need to assess if the proposal is feasible or not only at the second step of the evaluation. And while preparing preparing the application in step 2, both parts of the proposal are assessed by the panelists and the external referees. And of course, now that the change of the submission forms took place, of course, do not just repeat what is in part 1 into part B2, into part 2, but this is now with this new evaluation form, the risk is just reduced because the content of part 1 and the content of part 2 are very distinct. And please, in step 2, provide sufficient detail on the methodology and the work plan, the risk assessment, the mitigation plan, and you have now a reduced number of pages to do that. But since there have been a change in which, of course, the state-of-the-art and objectives are now pertaining to part 1, within those 10 pages, you have still enough room to give as much details as possible regarding the methodology. And I repeat myself, the description and justification of the requested resources do not count towards the page limit. So you can give it all, give it the whole science in the 10 pages, and then justify the resources afterwards. And another important thing is the coherency of figures, of course, in part 2. As I said, we will provide an annex with the panel with the budget breakdown. It's an Excel file. What you need to do is to pay attention to the calculation and giving, let's say, be coherent with the figures that you are providing, together with the justification of the requested resources. And of course, if you have additional team members, which are collaborators that have that could add a scientific added value to the research project, explain it in detail. Explain the involvement of these collaborators, and if they are beneficiary, their budget has to be included. And usually, how it is done is included under the PI's budget in the budget table that is given as an annex. And in part 2, there is also an appendix, which is the funding ID, which what I suggest is to fill it in very carefully for each PI. In step 3, there are no reviews, but they reassess the whole proposal, and they are very attentive in the drafting the questions for the interview. So to sum up, for Synergy, you have to have an original, ambitious scientific question that requires the joint synergetic effort of 2, 3, or 4 PIs. You need to design a research project, of course, to implement the idea and tackle the questions that you are attempting to tackle. And again, it's not about passing data from one PI to another, but it's about a small group of PIs and their teams working together, and these PIs are all equal and indispensable for the project. None of the PIs can drop down for the duration of the project. If it happens, the project needs to be reassessed. And then, of course, what is important is to get a letter of support for each PI from their host institution. This is an important part of the application. And if you have submitted previously to ERC Synergy Grants, please check the resubmission restriction before applying. And again, there is a press release, and the work program will be released at the beginning of July. Read carefully the evaluation criteria. Now I explained you that the project weighs more than the background of the excellence of the PI, and try to ensure that the reviewers can find answers to the questions of excellence in the proposal. Once you're done, get feedback from anybody you deem appropriate to give you feedback. I've heard many PIs that are preparing mock interviews. The host institution are helping for them. They are helping them. They are meeting constantly. They do joint meetings to try to take all the possible questions that can be asked during the interviews when they pass to the third step of the evaluation. If the proposal is interdisciplinary and from distant discipline, try to harmonize the different scientific languages when you are merging the fields, because sometimes some terms may mean something for one field and of course something completely different from to another field. When you submit your research proposal, do it way before the deadline. Don't wait until the very last day of the deadline. The submission system it can be really heavily charged during the very last day, and it might give you problems when you're trying to submit the proposal. So get familiar with the submission system and try because it can create, again, as I said, some problems due to the big amount of people that are trying to submit their application. So I'm almost concluding, Tim. I will conclude with some take-home messages. We cannot hide that the Synergy grant is a very competitive call. In Synergy 2025, the expected success rate is 7%. So really, only really exceptional proposals are likely to be funded, the ones that are truly ambitious. And of course, what the panel members are also paying attention to is the joint effort of the group of PIs and how their expertise is harmonized and giving and would contribute to give, of course, more than the mere sum of the PIs. And again, I repeat myself, Synergy does not mean passing data or a loose consortium, and Synergy does not even represent the same goal, the end goal, but it's the mean to achieve the ambitious scientific question. So again, any early careers applicants are encouraged to apply. And then I will finish with this graph. I always like to conclude my webinar showing this, especially on the right-hand side of this plot, because this is the proposal results by applicant type. And if you pay attention to the success rate of the new applicant and the success rate of resubmitting applicants, the ones who failed in previous Synergy application, you could see that the previous resubmitting applicants have 3 times more chances to get the grant. So they are 3 times more successful, actually, with respect to the new applicant, meaning that sometimes failure is just a building block to a great success, and even more because when the proposal, of course, is not retained for funding, you will still receive a very substantial feedback provided by the specialists in the field and the panel members, which is very, very precious. So if you need further advice, check the videos on Synergy. You can consult the call document. Of course, the 2026 is not yet out, but stay tuned. In mid-July, they will come up. And look at funded project in the ERC website. There is a portal in which you can see the funded projects, the abstract and some data. Register early in the funding and tender portal. It seems a trivial piece of advice, but go early into this submission system. Have your documentation ready. And if you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask us through the ERC Synergy applicant mailbox. And then, of course, get the written consent of your collaborators before the submission deadline. A simple email exchange would be okay. And with this, I thank you so much for your attention. I will stop sharing the presentation, and I'm ready to answer questions.
Thank you very much, Giuliano, for your presentation. We received some questions. The first one is about the budget. So the time commitment is 30% on the project,
Yeah.
and can the budget include 30% of the salary to buy
Yes.
out other tasks that normally are part of a researcher employment package if they are 100% affiliated to one university?
Let me see. Yes, normally, yes, of course, you can charge. You can put the cost of the time commitment of each PI in the ERC budget. That's clear. this you can ask your host institution how this works, and it may depend. This varies from host institution to host institution, but normally yes, you can from the ERC perspective. Yes.
Okay, thank you. The second most upvoted question is about the additional funding.
Yes.
Could you please clarify again the amount of the additional funding and how it differs from the additional funding for the other calls? So the question is about the €2 million that are available, for the advanced grant applicant and not for the starting consolidator and synergy applicants.
Okay, so let me clarify. In 2025, the €2 million are applying. There have been an amendment of the work program 2025, and the €2 million additional budget have been dedicated mainly to the advanced grant. But for the 2026 call, the additional €1 million, so the €2 million will be available for even for starting a consolidator. So the startup costs to start a new lab in EU can be awarded also the additional million, of course. So you can ask for 2 million to come to EU or associated country, also for starting and consolidator grants, future grantees. So yes, this is just because this change applied immediately in 2025, and it's applying also immediately for advanced grant. And of course, the starting and consolidator are one call almost ended, and the other one is ongoing. It was not possible to amend the contract for the work program for these two calls, but it will change in 2026.
Okay, thank you. And can these additional funding also be used for personal costs?
Yes. Yes, in 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, definitely yes.
Okay. Okay. The second question is about the host institution. So, is the host institution outside the European Union also eligible for funding?
Yes, it will be. So one PI on one host institution can be outside the EU or associated country.
Okay.
And this applies to all set of PIs, meaning if a proposal has two PIs, one can be from EU and the other can be from non-EU or associated country. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. The next question is about the restriction on submission. So does the submission restriction apply to the group of PIs, or can a single PI who received a B in first one to 2025 Synergy call submit a Synergy 2026 proposal with a different team of PIs?
Yes, sadly, the B applies to the proposal and the PIs. So if a PI that got a B wants to reapply with to a Synergy grant the following year, unfortunately will not be eligible.
Okay, thank you. Can additional team members be researchers submitting another application to a different ERC call?
Yes, but okay. Tricky question.
Yeah, can you be involved in an ERC proposal but not as another PI? So
yes,
just
in this case you are eligible. Yeah, okay. In this case you're eligible.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the next question is about the research question. So should the research question be mainly relevant for EU or better in a broader scope, so worldwide?
The research question. So ERC by definition is bottom up. So we don't have any priority. What the panel members, not we, praise is the excellence of the research project, no matter the topic, no matter the team, no matter the field, is bottom up. So there are no policy priorities, nothing. What matters is really excellence.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, can you maybe show us some data on the participation of Belgian researcher in previous calls?
I can provide participation or the grantees. You mean the grants received or applications? Just application, probably.
Yeah, the question is about application. Yeah.
I can, but I have to look into that. I will request it to the data analysis group, and we will see if this data cannot be, let's say, if you put data on a country and the data are very few, or this data can easily be identified with a person. So I tend to be a bit. I have to check with the data analysis team.
Okay, thank you. The next question is about the budget. So do the budgets for PIs have to be balanced out, or can a promoter who applies from a non-European country also have a lower budget for a particular expertise that is not that is crucial, but not core? And how does the Commission perceive imbalances in budget?
No, the budget really depends on the research that needs to be undertaken, and how expensive is the research of each of the objective that are undertaken by each and every PI, meaning that if the analysis is very crucial, but it doesn't require a large amount of money, of course, one PI who still has the scientific driving seat can request a bit less. So there can be, let's call it, unbalance a bit among budgets requested by the PIs. It needs to be justified. It needs to be clearly justified. That's what matters. And of course, if there is a huge discrepancy, you may also clarify on why. There is no limit in explaining the justification of the resources. And that is important, because you can be as clear as possible while the panel members are assessing the budgets, and also experts, external experts.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we still have the time for one last question.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's about the assessment of the expertise of the PIs. So in terms of publication, to specify expert levels and contribution, is it acceptable to list the latest work where the PI was the lead coordinator or mentor or collaborator, rather than first author? Are these type of contribution judged differently?
So this is a question basically regarding the CV. What is written is that you need to give the 10 past achievement with more emphasis to the most recent ones. So I would suggest that you choose wisely the 10 achievement, 10 articles, 10 research outputs that are the most impactful, and of course give the most recent one, because they need to assess how competitive in terms of state of the art the PIs are, and if they are also fit for purpose for the research. So I would say focus on the most recent one, because this is what the panel members need to understand, if of course the topic of the proposal pertains to those topics.